Hi, and welcome to Two Girls Shooting the Shit with Em and Mo. This is Mo, and in this episode, Em and I talk about pretty privilege, what it is, the impacts of it, and our own personal experience with it. So take a listen. Let us know what you think by providing a review. It really helps us out, and we really appreciate your listenership. If you haven't already, please share. And don't forget to check us out on Tuesdays for Instagram Live. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Um, but
Same.
whether you fall on the side of being quote unquote pretty by society standards or not, you are just being played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's discounting who you are as a person, your abilities, your whatever, on both sides. And it sucks that one side gets the privilege, obviously, and the other doesn't. But it sucks that again, that maybe it's chalk this up to patriarchy or whatever, that we're just being played.
Good morning.
Good morning. My alarm went off and I snoozed it. And like I must have turned it off instead of snoozing. So then luckily, like I had my sound on because then you texted and I was like, oh shit. So I literally rolled out of bed.
Rolled out.
So my voice is a whole thing right now.
Ooh, that cup is cute.
It's from the company I love, Sand Cloud.
Oh, okay. Never heard of them.
They make those metal straws. They make these blankets for the beach.
Yes.
And it's to save it's like animal conservation. They save the animals. They rehab the seals. They did this thing on Instagram. It was so sweet yesterday. It made me like cry. They released seals.
Oh,
why are you all dressed up? You're like ready for the day. Look at you.
I just got home.
You were ready for the night, even if you are not ready for the day.
It may not always be night or something. That's my jam. Go, mama. Come through, mama.
How was your trip?
Fabu, fabu.
So what are we talking about?
Pretty privilege. How does it feel? Huh?
Remember that music video? Ooh, wee.
That's some pretty privilege right there. Shoot.
That's a whole lot of privilege. All these privileges.
Right? So what is pretty privilege?
I was spamming you all these things I was looking up last night. So let's take a look see.
Yeah, here it is.
I'm sorry, I'm sick and I just woke up. So the voice is like, it's doing what it do. So here's a quote by Dr. Sarah L. Webb. And it says, now, is this a Black concept?
I don't know. I'm Black, so that's where I heard it. But it's all probably universal.
Yeah, it's new to me, like within the last few months, maybe. But I'm only seeing it in Black circles, Black posts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about it like in the Kevin Samuels type of circles and stuff.
Okay, so it says pretty privilege is about how closely your unique combination of physical traits and the way you choose to package those traits match or do not match cultural ideas of prettiness.
So I don't really understand that.
Me neither, but it sounds like somebody with a whole lot of letters behind their name said that's what it is.
Right? Are you okay? No, but I'm pretty.
Yeah. So I think it's a generally understood concept. Like if you're attractive, people want to be around you. They're gonna want to do things for you. They're gonna look at you more favorably. And I can see how that ties into race in this country.
Yeah, because race is bias. And so
the standards, the beauty standards in this country, obviously, things like that. Yeah. But what do you think about it, or what do you have feelings about it? I don't know.
Not really. I believe it because definitely I remember in my younger years, it's like you didn't do anything and people just nice to you for no reason, like let you in the club, like no cover, and like in the club.
No cover.
I've experienced that where like we're standing in line and they come and pick people out, like, and we got picked to go in, and didn't have to pay a cover. And so like little stuff like that, it's like, I didn't consider myself pretty at the time, but looking back, I think that was some kind of pretty privilege or something, because like, why did they pick us? You know, just little things like that. I think it's just in our brain, like how we're wired. Like you're supposed to,
you don't even think about it. Yeah,
the Darwinism or whatever. You're supposed to want the best outcome for your kids or something like that. I don't know.
I don't think you were on that trip, but I remember going to Vegas, and this is the first time I think maybe I realized this was a thing. And I was in Vegas. I think it was, like 29th birthday, something, a birthday.
Oh, I was probably there.
No. It was, I think it was the year after. Maybe like
okay.
31st, something. I don't know. Yeah. But the group that went were just whoever could make it. And we were having a good time, and we tried to go to Tao. That's the place you and I got into, and we had so much fun. But we tried to go to this club, and the girls who were in the front of the group, and it was a mixed group of racially mixed men and women, that kind of thing. And the girls who were in the front of the line were not what you would consider, like according to that quote, whatever accepted standards of beauty, whatever. They were overweight. Didn't wear makeup. They were just chilling, right?
Hey, my people, yeah.
And we got turned away. And I had never been turned away from a club before. And I didn't understand, because
with your fine self.
No, but I had never been turned away from a club. They didn't seem like the type to have gone to clubs anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't their scene. So maybe that's why they weren't, doing what they had to do to get in the club. But they're like, okay, well, and it was like they believed it. Oh, there's an event inside, so they're full. And I was like, well, why are they letting these people in?
Yeah,
and it just, I think that just highlighted, that standard, that pretty privilege that they afford to people, and exclude certain people from things, which sucks, because job interviews, entry into places, like, I mean, that affects a lot of stuff.
It does. Yeah. Remember back in the day, they used to do those like 2020, and like it would be like somebody fat with a bag, and they drop the bag and nobody helps them, and then like some like
it's like a fat suit. They would do stuff like that.
Yeah, or some stereotypically pretty person would drop it, and then everybody's trying to help them, and it's just like it's some kind of like safety, like I don't know, it's some kind of false like belief that if someone's pretty, that they are worth more and like are worthy to be helped, and that's just crazy to me.
Or you care more about them for some reason, or there's more like the value,
they're ideal or something, like the ideal person. So I guess if humans are trying to, what is it called, natural selection or something, you always want to try to get the prime optimal traits, and so in their mind those physical traits, like, which could be, that's not necessarily the whole story, but that's what they see, and they want to help. Like, it's so weird. But I see like it at the clubs, because it's almost like they're pimping you out, because they let you in, and then you get in, and then guys buy you drinks and stuff. So that's commerce. Like it's a whole.
Well, and they want to have a good reputation. People flock to that. Like if you go to a club and it's all dudes, first of all, so maybe pretty privilege has something to do with,
well, where that club at,
your sex or your gender or whatever. If it's all dudes, that's usually not, they make fun of that. Like nobody wants to go to a club where it's all men, because it's kind of like set up on this idea that you're trying to mate, you're trying to find, like the whole premise of a club isn't really to dance and have fun anymore. It's like people are trying to couple off or do whatever they do.
Here at these clubs, man.
It's so funny to me, like being, I don't know, I look back and I'm like, man, what was I doing at these clubs? So much Me Too action going on at the club.
Did you see this New York Post? Let's talk about pretty privilege. Attractive women brag about pretty privilege and get the insane benefits they get.
I didn't see that post.
This girl said she got drinks, Uber rides, surf lessons, $500 tickets to Lollapalooza. For no fact, and it's true. That? Yeah, like people just want to be around that beauty, and they'll give. I don't understand. Like, what is it? Like, I don't know.
What do you do about that?
I don't know.
Is it her fault? Is she gonna
No.
come up on some idiots who want to do that for her though?
Exactly. That's what I say.
But I feel like people sometimes they want to hate, like, oh, you just got that job because you're pretty. It's like, you know what? Despite, like, we saw this reel that's been going out around on Instagram. And it's like, you know what? I didn't do this face. This is what the person on the reel saying. Like, I didn't make this. I did nothing to get this face. Nothing to get, So thank you for the compliment, but keep it stepping.
It's the same as white privilege. It's the same thing. They can't control being white. So I mean, if you want to use that logic, then you can say
but the white privilege is established based on actions long ago. I mean, like, white privilege it doesn't just exist because it's white privilege. It was created to be that way.
Yeah. So it's pretty privilege just longer ago.
No, it's not. By white ancestors. There wasn't a time where people who were pretty were like, we're going to create a system. I view them
other people created a system for them.
But two white people are going to have a white baby. Two pretty people could have an ugly baby. Two ugly people could have a pretty baby. So it's not.
But I'm not talking about the babies. I'm talking about the people, the privilege. You said,
babies are people. They're going to grow up and be people.
Yeah, but that's like unrelated, because I'm talking about the person in themselves, like having a privilege, like saying they can't control it because they have a privilege. Like a white person, like in this time, in this moment, in this day and age, saying, I can't control that I have a privilege. Okay.
So but that privilege was established by ancestors.
I'm not refuting that, but I'm saying they have a privilege. And that's where we stand.
Nobody's disputing the privilege, but I don't think the two can be equated to each other.
I do.
I don't, because two white people are going to have a white child who's going to grow up to be a white person. To what, like, the way you look, again, the configuration of your face or the configuration of your whatever, based on what's accepted at the time, isn't something that's like passed down and just is part of.
Yeah, I'm not talking about passed down though. I'm talking about, she said I can't control.
But white privilege is something that has been created and is passed down.
But it exists. I don't care like the origin or anything. It exists.
Okay.
So like, you're white, you get a privilege. You're pretty, you get a privilege. It is what it is. You can't change. I guess you can make yourself ugly if you really wanted to.
No, but like there's privilege in everything though. Like, I mean, you could have there's tall people who have a privilege. You have more doors open to you because you're tall. You have, like, you're able-bodied, there's a privilege there. You are, so there's all these things, and that's why I'm saying, like, to me, I don't think that being white and being like, I don't know, in this, I think it's a bigger, like, I think in this country, like, equating the two it doesn't work.
Okay, it works for me because
but there's a privilege. I agree, there's a privilege, but I think the establishment of that privilege is what makes it
I'm not
different.
talking about the establishment or anything. I'm talking about that quote you said about somebody saying, I can't change myself being, or whatever they said. It's just like, we can't change. I mean, I guess you can, they can make themselves ugly if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
But like, what are we going to do about it? Like, a pretty privilege, it's always existed. I mean, that's just like the nature of humanity. So like, is there a judgment to put on it? I don't know. Like, that's, everybody's using what they have to get what they want in life. I mean, that's what it is. You have brains, you're going to use your brains to get what you want. You're pretty and brains, like, I don't know, like Kelly. Remember Kelly on I
was like, who we calling people out? Who
Married with Children? It was like, she was like supposed to be this bimbo kind of figure on the show, and she had all these guys like groveling after her. They do whatever she wanted. She was, but she didn't have any like skills or anything. It was just,
I think that's the damage to it. In that reel they were talking about, this woman was saying, my daughter's pretty, people say, oh, you're so beautiful, and she's like, give that compliment to God. And then she said something about,
I like that,
it's dangerous. I love that too, because it's, again, she didn't do anything. This is not like, don't tell me, good job on whatever. But she was saying, like, that's dangerous, because if you start, and this word again, I hate it, grooming. If you start saying these things to young girls, saying these, you're putting that value in their appearance, where they know, hey, that's always a commodity or something I have to trade with. That's always something I can rely on, fall back on. Yeah. Instead of developing.
OnlyFans, hey.
I mean, it's something I think everybody's aware of. Somebody, and maybe that in that way is different from white privilege.
Yeah, it's not
people
articulated.
Can acknowledge it. People can acknowledge that, hey, if you're pretty, you're going to get more things or treated differently. But to rely on, like, I don't know, I feel like that's dangerous especially for younger girls, especially in the social media time stuff, like your appearance. there's literally monetizing. You're getting paid to look a certain way and
just to look cute,
pimp yourself out.
Model, that's what a model is.
But more people think they're quote unquote models now because they have a platform.
Instagram models, they call them. But what do you think about, like, you mentioned something about people complimenting kids, and I remember a few years back, and like I think back in your new hood, like in Pacific Northwest or something, people were like having signs, don't compliment my kids' looks. Like, don't say anything about my kids' looks.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, I never heard about that. And it's like, they don't want, I guess that's like, I didn't understand it at the time. And I was like, wow, that's really crazy. But now that makes sense. I mean, you can't protect them. Somebody's going to compliment their looks.
I mean, it's everywhere. It's like part of the culture. It's TV. It's all this, you can't get away with it. Okay, get away from it. You can get away with it.
8 surprising reasons to stop complimenting little girls' looks.
I bet it's not surprising, but
Joanna Anastasia, Lifestyle and Design. And it's like,
okay.
Complimenting only looks gives the message that nothing else is important.
Right.
It teaches them that they get attention when they're pretty. It tells telling a little girl that she's beautiful puts her in a tight box of expectations. Instead of building their self-esteem with compliments, you're actually ruining the self-esteem. While telling boys, they're strong, smart, capable, and telling girls they're princesses, they don't get to hear that,
princess,
like they're strong, smart, and capable as often. When a girl starts believing that she's valued mostly because of her looks, she stops believing in her intellect. I don't know if that's true or not. If a girl learns that she should be pretty in order to get attention, then she's just a step away from believing that she should be sexy. And we're talking about kids.
Ooh.
If a girl sees that she gets attention only because of her looks, she might start to fear losing her looks. Yeah, then it's like, that's why we have the beauty industry and all of these things. People are really
like a crisis.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. Complimenting girls for looks and boys for performance teaches kids that the two sexes are unequal. And that's true. I mean, you get like you're a handsome young man or something like that, but it's not, I feel like the pretty privilege it's not called handsome privilege or anything like that, because it's something unique with
the alliteration.
Yeah. It's something unique, like you were saying, like people not having these benefits. So it's actually like an underprivileged group getting a privilege. Like I can't articulate it.
You said something in that list that hit me is it's like a one step away from being sexy.
Being sexy. Ugh, yeah, that was gross.
And I think
that's that John Bonet stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like, in these pageants, I'm not feeling the pageants. I'm not like, I don't like, and it even makes me uncomfortable to see these girls in dance competitions all made up like that. And I know a lot of it is for the lights on the stage and to, pop and all, I get it, but it makes me uncomfortable. The sexualization of young girls. Yeah. And I think that's also just an issue with women in general. You're just saying pretty privilege, not handsome privilege. There is a sexualization of female bodies. I mean, they're, women are sexual beings. So it's like a fine line, but I think that pretty privilege also can be viewed as, who do men want to sleep with? You will get this job. Because this pissed me off a lot, because I got a job after I left the job that we had. I was 27, and the person before me who left was very nice to me. She was there. We overlapped for about a week for her to train me, HR manager position. And she told one of the coworkers, somebody at the location, who later told me that so-and-so said, you only got the job because you're pretty. And I was pissed off because, one, this is a work environment. Why are you saying that? You're HR. Why are you talking like that? And two, you don't know nothing about me. You know nothing about me, my qualification, my education, my ability to do stuff. And you have decided, because I look a certain way, that's the only reason I got this job. And that pissed me off. And I guess it was later relayed that the boss found me attractive in that way. But that wasn't the case. And he's cool. He's cool. We're still friends on Facebook, whatever. But it's that was weird. And I think just the idea, even if that's not the case, the idea that it's been put in our heads for people to make that assumption is gross to me. And I think that does a disservice to young girls or to women who, we talked about how you can rely on your appearance to the point where you stop worrying about your intellect, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it also is really messed up, because the women involved don't have anything to do with it. I feel like this is set up by, my stomach is like hungry.
Society.
I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah. And so whether you
I thought it was a car.
My stomach is like, feed me. But
Same.
whether you fall on the side of being quote unquote pretty by society standards or not, you are just being played. You know what I mean? Like, and it's discounting who you are as a person, your abilities, your whatever, on both sides. And it sucks that, I mean, one side gets the privilege, obviously, and the other doesn't. But it sucks that, again, that maybe it's chalk this up to patriarchy or whatever, that, you know, we're just being played.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Being
but I didn't
played
like
by
that.
the man.
Like, you don't know me. You don't know why I got this job. I mean, maybe that was why I got in the door, but I could do the job. So,
ain't that some shit? I said, ain't that some shit? Oh, ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Goddamn. As someone who's been on different sides of the pretty privileged spectrum, I can say that I find myself, as I'm older, more comfortable in myself, being okay with not being what's considered stereotypically pretty. I'm able to provide for myself. I'm able to do for myself. And I still have witnessed people who are provided for just based on looks. People will look at you and say, hey, I got to do this for you just based on your looks. Hey, I've reaped those benefits when I was younger as well. I'm not putting a judgment on it. And I think, speaking of younger, that we really need to think about aging. As women age, we talked about this. If you haven't heard the episode, check out our Invisible Woman episode. But as people age, the concept of pretty privilege change. When does pretty privilege stop? I'm not really putting a judgment on pretty privilege. It exists. It is what it is. It doesn't just exist in humanity. It exists for different species. And it's just a part of life. So if it comes to where someone is losing something or losing resources because of it, then maybe that's something we need to look into. But we can't fault people for having pretty privilege. It's just part of society. It's the way it is. I don't know what we can do about it. It's not my fight. It's not my battle. It's kind of like goes into like hypergamy, like dating up or whatever you want to call it, like, because people, it'll give you access. Like we see it like with celebrities all the time. It's like gives you access to something you may not have had access to. So you don't, perhaps you don't have the intellect. Maybe you have, some people have the whole package, but maybe you don't have the intellect. You don't have the social class, but those looks are going to get you access to people who do, just based on nothing.
And people don't question it. Like, people wouldn't question it either. Oh, she belongs here.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I don't get it.
Doesn't even make sense. You know, like you could, and the thing about it too is I feel like beauty standards change, but there's probably a set of characteristics
there
or whatever,
are, like the distance that in your eyes and stuff.
The symmetry. I read somewhere with like I think it was you said natural selection, I think earlier. Where male mates look for symmetry in a female's face. My face crooked. So this is the one thing that makes me look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, I have like things are a little bit off. But the symmetry is supposed to tell a potential mate, and this is like in the animal kingdom and everything, that you're healthy. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, the lighter skin, certain types of hair, like, and that's the racial component, I think, is the standard of beauty that is mostly, European. You know, white or
because you see that a lot. Like I used to notice that as well, and I don't know if it's because as people, you know, we try to like ego project onto celebrities to find relatable content and things like that. But like music videos, for instance, all the time, you really wouldn't see any kind of dark skinned women or anything on there. And it was like always like long curly hair, light skin. And I think like that became some kind of version of pretty in the Black community for a long time. I think now there's more diverse, but for a long time, like that was the standard of beauty. You had to be some light skin with like Lisa Bonet, you know, you had to be like that kind of look. But we had Janet. We had Janet.
she got lighter and lighter as a time.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
yeah,
her nose, she got her nose done.
True that. Got the curly weave.
Even when you look at like Iman. She Somalian? I feel like she had a very
she has unique
Somalian look.
features,
Yeah, darker skin, but she still had like the
yeah.
Anglo, you're like thinner nose, and like her features were I think more palatable for white people, if that's a way to say it. I don't know. But I wonder, I mean, you were talking about music videos, rap videos, whatever. Even when put, and maybe I'm getting this wrong, even when put in the position where they can decide who they want to represent in their video, or are they in a position where they get to decide, they still chose to go with mainstream whatever ideas of beauty or whatever. That's interesting. And
because
that's
a lot of the
fucked up.
a lot of the directors are Black, you know. It's just
Yeah,
like,
so
that's what they, I mean, I guess that's what the marketplace wants. I don't know, but like Alec Weck, remember Alec Weck, the tall, dark, short hair model, a strong cheekbones. You know, she was popular in the modeling industry, but she never really crossed over in the mainstream culture. Like, you don't, like, she's not a name you see, like hey, Alec Weck, you know, like, so there are people represented, but not like, you don't see them in the mainstream. Like, I'm trying to think right now, who are the people like Doja Cat, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj? Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to think. Summer Walker, people like, so I think she's darker. Maybe.
Even if you go back though, you know, the Tyra Banks, Naomi Campbell,
green eyes,
they all, and part of me feels some kind of way. It's like a conflicting, like, you can't be mad at them, you know what I mean? Like, but you're mad at the situation. I don't know how to explain it, but you can see there's a particular type that is acceptable, that is palatable, or, you know, just enough Black to be like, yeah, we're breaking barriers. Right. That sounds messed up, because I know I don't like it when people are like, you're just Black enough for this, and you know, because you know, it's not the way to be talking about people, but but you can see it when you look at it through that lens of pretty privilege, of colorism, even we've talked about, to make sure, you know, we're going to break this barrier. We're going to have Black supermodels, but they have to fit a certain type.
Yeah. They had something like that. There was this book, I don't know if it's been updated, I should look it up, called The Color Complex. And I remember reading it and just being like in high school and just being like, what the heck? This is reality? And it talked about how like brown paper bag tests. So they had like social groups, like if you were darker than a brown paper bag, then you weren't welcome. And then they had like the comb, like if your comb didn't go through your head, and like all these things. And it's like us doing it to ourselves. So, and I think that's the thing. It's like that set it and forget it mentality. Yes, white supremacy did this, but then you're carrying on that legacy.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think, like,
conditioning? I have no idea.
We're coming up on Juneteenth and all, you know, these celebrations.
It is Juneteenth.
But well, I don't know when this is going to come out. So, but yes, happy Juneteenth. Hey. But thinking about that, I wonder why it is that we have internalized. Is it a way of assimilating and trying to survive? Is it a survival thing? Like, if we fall in line, follow these rules, impose these standards on ourselves, we can get further ahead in society now that we've been freed and have opportunities, or is it self-hate? Because we talk about this a lot. We talk about self-hate.
I think it's both. Remember like the Boulay and stuff, like all like W.B. Du Bois, like all the people who were the first were all like biracial, like they were the first people to open up the doors and stuff. I don't think that has to do with pretty or anything. It was just access to opportunity. And so this perpetuating it, I think it is like, I don't know if it's intentional, but I think it's something to the core. Like, just think of us as animals, and you see something as optimal, you want that for your offspring because you want them to be able to survive and thrive. So,
but what if it's in a society where you don't even want that for your offspring, right? They didn't want any mixing of the races. So it didn't matter if you were light skinned or dark skinned, you're not going to be in my family, you know? So I think this is gross to me, but I think it's still about what makes white people comfortable. Like in the work environment. I hate that. In the work environment, I mean, things have changed recently, maybe, but you couldn't wear your hair a certain kind of way. So certain styles were considered unprofessional, quote unquote unprofessional.
Oh, I stayed wearing my hair. F y'all.
Right, but like if a dude came to work in cornrows, you know, in some circles that would be considered unprofessional. Yeah, whatever. And it's about
even the military, they couldn't for a long time wear braids and stuff.
Wow. I don't know much about the military, like as far as that goes,
Yeah.
but I feel like the styles that are acceptable, are about comfort for a certain population.
It's comfort and a lack of empathy. Like, I think they don't realize there are different people. Like, this is how my hair grows out of my head. Your hair grows out of your hair a certain way. Like, these are my standards. This is, like you said, my comfort. And so this is what everybody else has to do. I don't care. Like, get in line.
But it's the value. And we talked about this, the whole idea of pretty privilege. It's the value placed upon it.
Mm-hmm.
It may be how your hair grows, how her hair grows, whatever, but I'm placing more value on this pressed out, style, or this more quote unquote neatly done, whatever is what they say. They say neatly. And those words are coded,
Yeah,
neatly.
exactly. So messed up. And I don't know. I was talking to a friend about that. It's like, you have to take I think people have to be audacious enough to say, I'm willing to go outside of those standards and I'm willing to make a risk in order to be my authentic self. I know for me, like all those weaves and stuff, I don't know, they're cute and stuff, but I always felt like I was tricking people. Like, it just felt like, gotcha, bitch, like, I don't like that. So to each their own, but it's definitely like, I can definitely say, I don't know, it's kind of odd. I was talking to somebody about that. Like, I date primarily interracially. And I noticed that when I'm natural, nothing changes. Whereas for Black guys, because that's the only people who talk to me, they don't really talk to me if I'm natural. Like, they'll more talk to me if I have weave or braids.
I wonder, that's going back to the music video. Like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Or why are we changing? That's the standard. It's been internalized. Deeply.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to change it.
But I mean, yeah, and I don't know if there's anything we could do about it. I mean, the thing is, if you want to wear weave tomorrow, you can go wear weave tomorrow.
Exactly.
You can go do this. It can change.
Put my crochets in.
Right? But who you are is the same person. And how do we get past this pretty privilege or this whatever idea of what beauty is to get to know who everybody is as a person? And again, maybe it's the thing you said earlier is how we want to put, like, I think it's a couple podcasts. We have to put people in boxes. We have to
have to categorize.
So I don't know. I don't know how certain traits got decided to be like, oh, that's the ideal mate. That's the ideal employee. That's the ideal this, based off what you look like. I mean, if you're wearing a suit or something, like if you're not dressed like literally coming in professional, I think that is one thing. But
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I know when we met, I thought you were very pretty, and so when you were nice, I was like, oh, this pretty girl is so nice.
I felt the same about you, boo.
I was like, she's so nice. It was cute. But yeah, I noticed that with my friends. I'm like, a lot of them, I'm like, is that attraction? Like, why was because I just thought my friends were pretty. Like, it's something disarming. I
always felt not uncomfortable, but like unsure of myself whenever I met other Black women. And that's a me thing. Like, just from growing up, not around a lot of people, and some limited experiences were not good. And so I always had like a cautious, people receive me in different ways, but you always had a big smile. I remember that. I was like, oh, I'm glad we connected. That's all.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, so cheesy. So it's a love fest up in here.
It's a love supreme. But yeah, like, speaking of, like, I saw Cornel West talking about something. Ooh, Cornel West,
he's crazy. Sometimes he goes a little off from me.
I didn't want to forget what he was saying. Love everybody. I'm just like, I'm sick of these. This is a tangent, I guess, but I'm just sick of these thought leaders or whatever. I'm like, oh, write a book. Like, I don't care. I don't care.
He was on Bill Maher the other day, and I was like, where are you going?
Like, what is the point?
On
like,
Bill Maher.
He recently got married, and I was looking at, and it's funny because I just said I don't date. Like, I mostly date white guys. And so it's interesting though, because all of these Black leaders, like racial, like who focus on race so much, are with non-Black people. And I'm like, that's interesting. Like, why is that? Who
did he marry?
I don't know, like race? A brown.
Okay.
Not
still a quote unquote POC.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see.
But the more he talks, though, he doesn't talk. He's not necessarily like speaking on Black issues. Everybody's a sister or a brother. Like he's talking.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about
transformed.
on Bill Maher. Yep.
Yes.
See?
Yeah. I think we watched the
He's
same.
like, F y'all
He's
Blacks.
transformed. Yeah, he's transformed though, because I remember being in college and reading a lot about his stuff. Yes. Yeah. And he was more focused on Black issues. But I think over time it's transformed to just general.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang.
What?
Has he ever been married to a Black woman?
Oh, he's been married before?
Hilda Holloman, Ramona Santiago, Elena Jebri Amlach, Leslie Kotkin.
He's been married how many times?
Anahita dang, how many times he been married? Wait, let me look at this.
He likes Latinas. Is it Latinas?
That's his type. That's his type.
I mean, you like what you like. Life. I mean, like we say, you like what you like.
Right?
Oh, there it is. I just got on Wiki too. He's so funny.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know he was married that many times. Dang. Spouses.
Hilda
but
Holloman.
some people are like that. This is unrelated.
Dang, he old?
How old is he?
I don't know, but he first got married in 1977, but he went through all this education, so I'm assuming he didn't get married young.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, he's 69. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that's about. He's like could be our parents.
69 and feeling fine.
Right? Just got married. See, look, hope. You always say keep hope alive. I guess I gotta wait till I'm 69. It's gonna be popping.
Oh, it's gonna be popping.
So this pretty privilege, though. I don't really have anything else to say about it. You?
It just is what it is. I think my only piece is just trying to figure out how to protect my daughter from the pitfalls of it, and future generations, the pitfalls of it, and just to make sure that I think on both ends, we shouldn't be judging people for the way they appear on the outside, because you don't know what's going on the inside. And for those who are being judged that way, continue to work on your inside, because that's what's important.
Yeah, that C word. That's the thing. Like
back it up with some substance,
It always goes back to that, because it's like people want an easy way to categorize and judge people. And you can't always do that. And that's why racism exists and all this, because people live in fear, or they live in these expectations or ideas they have about other people. And it's like, just take the time to get to know. Like, I found that a more fulfilling life experience is to say, okay, this person, like, sometimes I will be like categorized. I mean, that's just a natural human thing, but I'll still want to get to know you. I still talk to people on a one-on-one basis.
Something just popped in my head. And for me, maybe it's not the way I have met people and engage with people isn't about pretty privilege, but it's more about happy privilege. Like, if you put off a vibe, like I want to, we could have a good conversation. We could have a good time. I don't care what you look like. Yeah. So I don't know if that's a privilege. Like, what if you depressed,
Well, I stay depressed, and the people don't know that. They always be like, oh, you're so fun and jovial.
Jovial, not jovial. Jovial Mo.
I'm immature. I mean, what you trying to say?
Jovial. Anyways, well, I mean, stay pretty. Stay pretty, Mo. What a mess.
Stay pretty, stay fine.
Yeah, what's that? How are you? I'm not okay, but at least I'm pretty. What's that thing that I sent you? That's sad. That's so sad. Yeah. But what are you gonna do?
What is we gonna do? All right.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Two Girls Shooting the Shit with Em and Mo. Please enjoy this mindful moment. Be grateful for all that you are, for all that you have, and for all that you experience. No one else has the same privilege as you.